Hello, YTPC. Enjoying some Maltese Falcon out of one of my restored Willards. It is a windy day. We had a lot of warm weather, like unseasonably warm for this area over the last 3 days. Judging from the cloud coverage and the wind, even though it's still mild in temperature, we've got one heck of a cold front, I think, coming through. Brothers and sisters of the Briar, I just wanted to kind of want to call to mind the notion that oftentimes we allow ourselves to become resentful. In big things, in some things that are just really almost meaningless, or certainly things that are small in the grand scheme of things. But resentment's an interesting poison. Sometimes it can be quite obvious. And sometimes our justification that we maybe consciously or subconsciously try to adopt we try to justify it with some sort of a great reason, right? I mean, we are sure as the sun comes up tomorrow that we are in the right and that we have been wronged, right? And that's a big piece of resentment, kind of this feeling of being unjustly dealt with, or things have been unjustly dealt out to you, or perhaps you've been unjustly left out or omitted from things that you believe that you have earned or deserve. Sometimes resentment just comes from a place of almost being in tandem with coveting something else about others, or something that others have that you do not. One thing is for sure, since the dawn of time, accounts of resentment and the damage that they cause have been documented. I mean, you even see it in the book of Genesis. Whether you are religious or not, a biblical scholar or no, most people are aware of the story of Cain and Abel. Resentment, right? Cain resents Abel and kills him over it, because he feels he's been dealt all the soft, easy hands in life, and Cain feels as though he has been dealt unjustly, and no matter what he does, everything's horrible, and for Abel, everything seems to work out, and he starts to resent him for that. When we start to feel resentful, it can be dealt out in a very egregious, very epic manner, or sometimes it's very passive. Outside of huge accounts in history, such as the Revolutionary War, where we resented England for taxation without representation, and England resented the colonists for doing what has been done by every single empire ever since history began. I mean, most empires would, that's just it's how empires conquer, right? They go in and they colonize an area. So for the first time, there was this huge pushback where we're like, hey, a group of people are like, we colonized this, but now we want it to be ours, I mean, right or wrong. The red coat returns. I'd love to hear your words on that, mate. But no, seriously. So in history, we see this all the time. We see this resentment that can brew up almost every war, including the Civil War, right? Again, both parties resenting the others. It's a slippery, dangerous poison. Is is where I'm getting at with this. So, just a tiny little seed of thought, for the end of the week. Brothers and sisters of the Briar, just every once in a while, it's good for us to check ourselves with our reaction to others. Whatever that engagement might be, whether it's professional, at work, it's personal, with friends and family, whatever the medium, whatever the platform, whatever the framework that is. Our actions, our remarks, our these interactions with others, are we being passive-aggressively reactive because of some sort of resentment that we're harboring? Perhaps we haven't even recognized or accepted that we are. Or worse, can we catch ourselves in a moment where we are being aggressively and forwardly in our conduct with others because of a very deeply felt wound that is festering with resentment? Just something to ponder, obviously, always encourage others to give their thoughts on this. So, I'll leave you with that to contemplate. We'll see you next week for the next review. Hope you all enjoy your weekend. And until then, be well and happy sipping.